What's going on, everyone? It's Super Jesus Jackson. When most people think of Michael Jackson, they think of the moonwalk. They think of Thriller, Billie Jean, Beat It, big songs, big visuals, big pop moments. But what often gets lost is this. By the way, if you hear a dog in the background, it's my dog. But here's the thing that often gets lost with Michael Jackson. It's the fact that he was one of the most sophisticated lyricists in pop music. Dare I even say, he might be the most sophisticated. Now you might be like, well, what makes his lyrics sophisticated? Well, I think it's because his lyrics can sometimes go into very dark, heavy territory that you never expect from the guy who sang ABC and Rock With You. So today I want to dive into that side of Michael, the one people don't talk about, the misconception. Michael has been branded as the pop entertainer, the spectacle, the voice, the dancing. And yes, he was all of that. But if you strip away the production and really just look at what he was writing, there's pain, there's paranoia, there's betrayal, and there's some seriously poetic writing that feels closer to Shakespeare or Edgar Allan Poe than bubblegum pop. Let's start with one of my favorite examples. Who Isn't? At first glance, it's just another breakup song. A guy gets cheated on and he's devastated. Pretty straightforward, right? But listen to this lyric in verse 2. I am the damned. I am the dead. I am the agony inside the dying head. That's pretty intense. That doesn't sound like a casual heartbreak line. And it's not just rhyming for effect. That image, the agony inside the dying head, captures the mental torture of betrayal in a way that feels almost ancient. So I looked a little deeper. And it turns out it echoes old Greek art, specifically a sculpture once thought to be Alexander the Great, and the mystery around Alexander's death too. It's perplexed scholars for decades. Was it natural? Was it murder? All of this uncertainty mirrors the mystery in the song. It becomes this double metaphor, the uncertainty of history and the uncertainty of why your lover left you, and who did she leave you for? All of those questions. Now, let's go darker. Morphine. On his Blood on the Dance Floor album, Michael released a song called Morphine, and it might be the rawest thing he has ever written. Demerol. Oh God, he's taking Demerol. Or maybe the way that he says it. Demerol. Oh God, he's taking Demerol. The guy literally sings about painkillers, drug dependency, and the trap of using them to escape. This is miles away from songs like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. In fact, the song switches from these harsh, industrial sounds to a dreamlike section where he almost convinces himself that everything's fine. Then it crashes back into the nightmare. And if you actually look further into the lyrics of the song, it's one of the hardest ones to dissect, really. Maybe that's something that grants a whole other video unto itself, but it's one that I had trouble deciphering. But all this stuff, more importantly, it's not subtle. He's exposing his own struggles, his own demons. And what makes it chilling is that he wrapped this confession inside a pop album that most casual fans never even listen to. Little Susie. This isn't a love song. It's basically a tragic ballad about a little girl who dies from neglect. Somebody killed little Susie, the girl with the tune, who sings in the daytime at noon. Michael is telling a story about society failing a child, about innocence destroyed. And musically, it feels like a requiem. It feels orchestral. There's dramatic strings, almost like a funeral mass. Again, think about this. This is on the same album as Scream and You Are Not Alone. While other artists at the time were chasing radio hits, Michael was sliding in a gothic tragedy about child neglect. A fall down the stairs, her dress torn, oh, the blood in her hair, a mystery so sullen in air. She lie there so tenderly, fashioned so slenderly, lift her with care, oh, the blood in her hair. I also think this song is Michael Jackson's Polly, which is a Nirvana song that talks about the abuse and murder of a teen girl. So really interesting stuff here. This is Michael, going into just, a more sophisticated route in his career. He already has his hits. He already has his pop bangers, Now is the time to go, a little deeper, a little darker. And that's what he did. Stranger in Moscow. This one is more personal. Michael wrote it while he was under intense media scrutiny in the mid-90s. And he wrote it in, you guessed it, Russia. How does it feel when you're alone and you're cold inside? That's the core line, and it's devastating in its simplicity. But then he takes it further. KGB was stalking me. Take my name and just let me be. He compares his treatment in the press and in public life to being hunted by the secret police. It's paranoia, but it's paranoia grounded in how he really felt isolated, misunderstood, and trapped. It's kind of sad, actually, how, at this point in his life, he felt so betrayed by the United States and, sort of the culture and the commentary around him, and obviously all the allegations and everything. And he found himself to be more at home in other parts of the world. And he didn't just show it in his music. In his performances, he decided not to tour the United States as much as he did the rest of the world. But I think in general, this song is just Michael bearing his mental state at a time when the world was laughing at him. He also writes lines like, Kremlin's shadow belittling me, Stalin's tomb won't let me be, and here abandoned in my fame, Armageddon of the brain. Just poetic beauty, man. Is it scary? We all know Michael was incredibly frustrated with the media, the tabloids, the allegations, the rumors, right? And Is It Scary is one of the best ways he expressed that frustration. At the end of the day, he wanted to be viewed and respected as a human being with real emotions, not just this superstar god on one extreme or as a villain on the other extreme. In this one, he has lyrics like, I'm gonna be exactly what you want to see. It's you who's haunting me because you're wanting me to be the stranger in your life. This is an interesting contradiction because as much as society seems to reject him, he's still Michael Jackson, and they can't get enough of him, whether it's his music or his scandals. So it's like, pick one. Which is it? Am I amusing you or just confusing you? Am I the beast you visualized? And if you want to see eccentric oddities, I'll be grotesque before your eyes. Let them all materialize. I think this lyric is one of the most visceral lyrics he has ever written. To me, this encapsulates so much about his desire to rebel and almost respond to people calling him weird with even more weirdness. It's why he also fought back, in interviews with Oprah and Martin Bashir. It's almost like he doubled down with the way that he was being perceived from those interviews. It's like, oh, people started saying shit about him turning white? Well, guess what? He got even more white. Oh, he was accused of being weird with kids in the 90s. Well, guess what? It happened again in the 2000s, and this time, potentially more disturbing. And of course, he also did it with his music. The album that this song is in, History, and the album before it, too, are much more raw, honest, and grotesque in all the good ways. But he also has some of the most beautiful songs in his career on these albums. And I think what's interesting too is that Is It Scary is very gothic, operatic, industrial. It's like what would happen if you combined Michael Jackson and 9 Inch Nails. Also with Morphine. That sounds like very much like a 9 Inch Nails song. And I don't think it's a coincidence. When you think of 9 Inch Nails, the lyrics of Trent Reznor are incredibly honest, almost disturbing at times, very raw. And it's no surprise Michael's doing that here in the History album. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about a song that is very fun and groovy, but also serves as a commentary on how people then, and even people today, view sex. Superfly Sister. In this track, Michael writes, Love ain't what it used to be. This is what they're telling me. Push it in, stick it out. That ain't what it's all about. Susie like to agitate. Get the boy and make him wait. Mothers preaching Abraham, brothers, they don't give a damn. Man, did Michael have bars. Michael was a little bit more of a gentleman, you could say, compared to a lot of men. He did grow up pretty conservative, traditional, and as a Jehovah's Witness, of course, so that might have had something to do with it. But if Michael felt a need to write a song sort of criticizing the way people view sex at that time, imagine what he would say about today's music and culture. I think it's interesting to think about. The bigger picture. So what does all of this tell us? It's that Michael Jackson wasn't just the king of pop. He wasn't just a performer, he was a writer who turned his pain into poetry. I think it's very sad that a lot of people think that pop music, not just MJ's music, is very surface level and just bubblegum pop, basic. But a lot of pop artists, at least the really, really good ones, they put some really, really interesting stuff into their material, sometimes later on in their career, while also still giving us the pop edge. A lot of these songs that I mentioned still are very poppy and groovy, but when you look into them, they're very dark, kind of like Billie Jean. But I think the reason most people don't notice this stuff in regards to Michael Jackson specifically, I think it's because his performances were so massive, so larger than life, that the lyrics became background noise. It was easy to just kind of like dismiss. But when you actually stop and read them, you realize, oh, Michael was writing about mortality, addiction, abandonment, betrayal, loneliness, paranoia. We can go on and on. He tackles a lot of stuff that a lot of pop artists tackle, but I think because it's Michael Jackson, it's very easy to just, not see that stuff and not pay attention to it. So it's kind of a curse and a blessing, But there we have it, everybody. This is what makes Michael Jackson not just the king of pop, but one of the most misunderstood songwriters of our time. Perhaps the most misunderstood writer. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you like, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and drop a comment down below. Tell me what your favorite underrated MJ lyric is, whether it's depressing or amazing or groovy, fun, whatever. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think of my thoughts? Do you think I'm onto something here, or do you think I'm missing something? If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. Make sure you share this video with your MJ-loving friends if you will. But that's it for me. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.